Monosaccharides are the monomer for our polysaccharides, which are starch, cellulose, and glycogen. Because they are the monomer, we refer to them as simple sugars. Our monosaccharides can range from 3 up to 6 carbons. There's many different types of monosaccharides out there, but there will be 3 particular ones, glucose, galactose, and fructose, that we will focus on in our carbohydrates adventures. Our monosaccharides can be classified based off 2 pieces of information. Each monosaccharide will have a carbonyl functional group. As we have learned, we focus on 2 organic families under the carbonyls, aldehydes and ketones. A monosaccharide that has an aldehyde family, we use the ALD to signify aldehyde. The OSE is the suffix we use for sugars. So aldose is a monosaccharide that has an aldehyde group. So if our monosaccharide, as identified by OS, has ket before it, ketose, that monosaccharide has a ketone in its structure. Then we want to know how many carbons we are working with in that monosaccharide. We'll use the multiplicative prefixes tri, tet, pent, and hex with os. Tri, therefore, represents 3 carbons. Tet is a 4-carbon monosaccharide, pent is a 5-carbon, and hex is a 6-carbon monosaccharide. We can then combine those 2 names in order to know the number of carbons and what type of carbonyl will be in the monosaccharide. How do we interpret a monosaccharide structure? Starting with our first monosaccharide. Here we have the CHO. Remember that a CHO is also representative of an aldehyde, where it's going to have that carbonyl bonded to the hydrogen. As a refresher, this is because whatever is directly next to the carbon is bonded to that carbon, and hydrogen can only form 1 bond. Since there's nothing to the right of the oxygen, that means the oxygen can only solely be bonded to the carbon. Otherwise, there would have to be an element following oxygen to show that it has 2 separate bonds. Therefore, based off this information, we know that this is an aldose because it's an aldehyde. Then we want to count the number of carbons. We have 1 with our aldehyde, 2, 3. That makes this structure a triose. However, rarely do we just use one or the other, because we always need to know the carbonyl and we need to know how many carbons there are. Blending the 2 names, we have aldo because that takes precedence and it tells us where the carbonyl is at and what carbon number it's probably going to be. And then we end with that triose. I suggest pausing the video and figuring out the monosaccharide classification for the following 2 compounds. Looking at the second structure, our carbonyl is interior. Because it is interior, that means it is a ketone group, or it is a ketone family. Therefore, this would represent a ketose. counting how many carbons we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would then be a pentose. Now we want to combine the two names together. The carbonyl identifier goes first. So keto pentose. In the last structure, we have that carbonyl drawn out for that aldehyde. This would be an aldose. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why did I use the same number? I guess it's going to be a pentose. Combining the two names, we get an aldopentose. It's pretty straightforward.